Hi everybody, it's Jean Marie. I'm going to make a tutorial today. I'm going to make this necklace from the April Bargain Bead Box, the Spring Blossom set. I had a request for it, so I'm going to put this together for you and show you how I did it. So let's get started. Move that out of the way. So almost everything came from the box. Really just some findings didn't, and that's pretty much it. So first off, I have a piece of 26 gauge wire. This is about, I'm going to say about 8 inches long, and it's just a scrap that I cut off my herringbone wire net wrap necklace, because I saved all my scraps from it, and this is just a scrap from that. So I'm going to use that. 6 ball head pins, 8 eye pins, a toggle clasp, and I picked this one because I thought it went really nice with the bead caps, and we are going to use 1 bead cap, 2 4mm jump rings. I believe it's 13 8mm, 6mm jump rings. I have a pile of them here, and I have more than that. I couldn't remember exactly how many, but I think it was 13. The 2 flower strands that we got. In my necklace, I took the small one off because I used it for a set of matching earrings. It's up to you entirely if you want to leave it on. Our lampwork bead, 5 of the little multicolored crystals that we got, the little 3mm crystals. Our chain, 9 of the little hematite leaf beads, 2 of the 6mm pink and gold flecked beads, and 2 of the 8mm rose quartz beads, and just a pile of the peridot chips. I didn't count them out. When we make it, you'll see there is a certain number to it. It's not a whole lot. There's way more there than we're going to need. I think it's, alright, if I had to do a quick count, I would say it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It would be 22-ish. So, there you have it. Alright, let's get started. Sorry about the lamp moving. I'm trying to set up in a different spot because my light has been a huge issue. And I honestly don't think the light here is much better, but definitely has more wobble to it. So why don't we start with, let's start with the little flower, the little leaf and rose quartz beads. I mean, they're obviously rather simple. They're just an eye pin and one of the leaf beads. I put it point down, a rose quartz, and another leaf bead, point again out, so that the leaves kind of frame the bead like a little flower. And then I'm going to do something that I probably shouldn't do. I'm going to use my fingernail because I find it easier that way. I get a nice tight bend. Cut it off about 1/4 inch. I forgot to tell you what you're going to need for tools, but it's basic tools. Your cutters, your round nose, and a couple pairs of pliers, just to hold your jump rings and whatever you need to be held at that point in time. Alright, so getting in here close to the top, trying to make a loop that's going to be pretty much similar to that one. Burn back, 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 until you get it in there, and then just turn it back. Bring it back into place, kind of like opening and closing a jump ring. And I'm going to use a pair of pliers to just grip this one because I want to kind of straighten them so they lay parallel. And there's your first one. So we're just going to do one more of those. It's very simple. Just the leaf, the bead, and another leaf. Bend it over so you get a nice tight bend. Trim it off. These steps, I know they seem monotonous. That's why I hate making you watch me do the same step over and over again. And the herringbone necklace, I mean, there was 30 beads to wrap, and I was not going to make anyone sit and watch me wrap 30 of those. So it's kind of the same idea with doing these, only thankfully there's not a whole lot. We definitely are not going to be doing 30 of them. So, get that somewhat straight. There we go. I'm going to set those aside. Then we're going to do the same exact step using, again, the leaves, but with the small pink bead and another leaf. Bend it over, cut it off. And how much you cut off really does make a big difference, because if you cut too much, you're going to have a really large loop. And if you cut too small a section, you're going to end up not having enough to turn a good loop. So there's that one. We're going to do 2 of those. I definitely need to invest in better lighting, I guess. I've tried everything I've got around me right now, 5 lights, and I just cannot seem to get a sufficient amount of lighting. Okay, so there's those. Now the next 4 of our eye pins are going to be beading up the chips, and there are 5 chips to each. I try to find the biggest ones possible. It's kind of part of the reason why I dump so many. I like to be able to pick and choose some of the bigger ones. Then you also have the issue of them sometimes being drilled too close to one edge or another. So this was 5 chip beads. Again, bend it over. Trim it off. And you're going to do 4 of those. The hardest part for me with these chip beads is finding the holes. I had the same issue with the rest of the jewelry that I made using them. And they're not so small, it's just that they blend right in with all the cracks and crevices. They make it really hard to find. 3 on there. I have a tendency to let those little pieces fly, which is really not a good idea. I live alone, so it's not a big deal as far as worrying about somebody else stepping on them, but I have stepped on them myself. They're not fun. So I try to remember to catch the pieces as they go flying, but I'm not great about it. So 2 more of these. 2, 3. So while I've got a minute here, I'll tell you a little about myself. I don't think I've ever really gotten into who I am. I'm a single woman now. I was married for 36 years. I've now been divorced for 5 years. I have 4 sons, all grown. 3 are fathers. 2 are married, 1 is divorced. My oldest son is in the Air Force. He's never married, says he never will, and has no children, does not want children. But after having 4 boys, I wanted, of course, a daughter extremely bad. I have now got 3 granddaughters. No grandsons. So, needless to say, they are extremely spoiled by Grammy, as Mimi, as they call me. They are the absolute light of my life. My oldest granddaughter, Lily, she's 8. She spends a lot of time with me, so we do a lot of crafting together. She loves to bead with me. She loves to get into my beads. She loves to take my beads. So, but I don't mind. I love spending time with her. I love doing crafts with her, and I love that she's enthusiastic about learning and just hanging out with me in general. Makes my day. My other 2 granddaughters, one, Kennedy, just turned 2, and my third one, Paisley, will turn 1 next week. So I look forward to many years of getting to be Mimi to them and spend time doing my crafting and teaching them what I can, or at least just letting them play and pretend they understand what I'm saying. So there's the 4 of them. So that finishes that part. So let's work on this. This part is where the wire is going to come in. So I usually just, this is how I did that. Now whether, if you have a different way of doing it, if you want to come up with something that works better for you, I will not be offended. All I did was, as you can see, I just bent it over my round nose pliers, crisscrossed them, gave them a couple of twists, bring them back together. So now I have essentially what looks like a eye pin, but with two wires. You can see that? There we go. And from that, I took one of these round faceted beads and just strung it down both wires, clear to the loop, if I can get both of them in there. There. This is 26 gauge and it works really well for this. And then from there, I'm just gonna, you can use your pliers, actually I'll use my pliers just to make it easier for you to see. I just grabbed the loop and bent it so that it looks, sorry about that, my son just called, speaking of my children. So anyways, this is what you want to have. Trying to get it so you can actually see the loop. There we go, a little bit better. So basically it's just, looks kind of like a double die pin that's bent over that a little bit. And then you're going to take that bead cap, the one and only bead cap in here, and with the rounded side, you're going to put it down both wires, right down over that bead that we just put in there. This is where we're going to hang the chains from. So then we take and open them up. It doesn't really matter which one goes up and which one stays out, but you kind of want to bend them one up and one out like a little L. Kind of like that. And the one that's bending out straight from the back is the one we're going to put through the hole. And that'll set that down in for you, more or less. Let me take a little finagling. Here we go. And then just run one wire up the front and one wire up the back. Pinch them in nice and tight so it stays in place for you. And then you're just going to take the front wire, wrap it around the back wire a couple of times, good and tight. And then get the wire stuck to my cutters. And get in there and cut as close as you can. And after you've done that, I'm going to take the depth of your top of your, and get it to focus here. Move down some, that'll help. You just basically want to bend over the top of those wires that you wrapped that front wire, and then turn your round those pliers into it, go up and over, turn it to the back, continue your loop just like if you were making a wire wrapped head pin or any wire wrapped bead. You see it? And then you're just going to wrap this around as many times as you want. I like them kind of chunky because it's a thin wire and I like it to be pretty substantial feeling. So, and there's that part. Again, just cut it off. And you want to straighten it up a little bit so that your loop is, I'm going to try to get it up to the, you can go either in this groove or up to the top. I think this groove is what I did on the other one, and it actually worked out better, but I've already got this one cut long, so I'm going up here with it, up to the tip of the petal. And just straighten this all out. And that's what you should have. So there's that piece. We'll set that aside. Now you're going to want to make your chain dangles. I seem to be missing a bead. What do I do with that? Oh, there it is. So there's 5 more of these little crystals left. So we're going to cut 5 pieces of the chain. You don't want them to be the same. You want them to vary. And literally all I did for that was lay it out, come in and snip it. And then I just kept laying out pieces and snipping them until I had 5. And I've already done that. I don't measure them against each other because I don't want them to be the same lengths. I just make it very random. Take the head pin, sorry. Pick up one of your beads. Using the tip of your pliers, just bend it over so that you've got a little area to wrap in. Up and over, rotate your... I keep catching that. Keep catching that ball. Yeah, that came out terrible. Alright, there we go. I saved it. So you want a little space left to do your wrap in. And so you're just going to take it off like this. Hook it through one of your chain pieces at the end of it. So you've got just one chain on it. Bring it around and get it so that it's like this. So now you've got your chain hooked on and you've got this wire pointing that way. So just come in with your bent nose pliers and, yeah, easy for me to say. Come in with your bent nose pliers and hold that loop that you made. Everything should be looking kind of like that. Take this wire and just wrap. Again, I make mine kind of chunky, and they're kind of a messy wrap, but that's how I like them. You can do them nice and neat and even, and do them whatever way works for you, but I kind of like the bulkiness of the messy wrap. And then these things are magnetic, and they keep holding all my little pieces. So again, go in and cut right off in there tight. And you've got one chain dangle. So that will hang from. So then we're going to do that with the other 4. I didn't go any particular color scheme on these little crystals. I literally grabbed the first ones that came off the nylon cord that it's on. So again, put these right up close to your bead, bend it over, move your pliers up into that bend, up and over, rotate your pliers, continue your loop. These are the flimsiest eye pins I've ever seen. I'm not sure what gauge they are, but they are super flimsy. I mean, look how much that just bent just doing that. So now, same thing, just hook on to one of your pieces of chain. Bring it down through until it gets into place. Hold on to it. And then just fill that space. Like that. Trim it off. I'm going to pause for a second and do the other 3. So I lied. I said we needed 8 eye pins. We actually need 10. I just took one because I had a really long one, cut it in half and rolled the other end to make my two, 'cause two short ones would be just fine for it. And one of these will go in that last leaf. And then just create another loop at the other end of it. This is why the short ones are just fine. And just there's that piece. Your other one, you're going to thread on one of these chips. The point end of your leaf. One more chip. That one's pretty close to the edge. I'm going to get a different one. I don't quite trust that one not to break. So it should look like this. Now push everything all the way down and give it a tight bend. Again, cut it off so you have 1/4 inch. Roll this one back. Oh, I'm having trouble getting it. So it should look like, just 1 second to get this straightened out. So it should look like this. You should have a bead, your leaf, a bead, and then 2 loops on each side, and then a loop again at the bottom of your leaf down here. That is going to be what holds this together. So I'm just going to open this up. Just like you would open a jump ring. You want to twist it, not pull it. String on your pendant. Close it back up. Good and tight, because that's very thin wire and it will slip through if you don't. So it should be looking like this. And we're going to take one of these small jump rings and open it up. These are the 4mm, and you're just going to string on all 5 of your chain pieces. Very randomly. I'm not even making sure that the colors, whoop, lost one, aren't, you know, it's not the same color after the other. It doesn't make any difference to me. They're going to move and flow so much that it really won't matter. I'm having trouble getting that one on there. There we go. Then you get them all strung on. I'm going to string them onto a second one. Oh, I keep losing them. My fingers don't want to work. I've been on the computer all day at work, and now my fingers are done. Just string that one on. Close that jump ring up. Open up the other one. Just partially opened already anyway. Hook it into that loop you created on the front of the lamp work bead and close that up. And there's the start of that. Looking very pretty. All right. So from that point, we're going to work on stringing up the chain section. We're going to switch to the bigger jump rings, the 6mm, and you could stay with the 4mm if you wanted to. It doesn't really matter. Probably the 4mm would be just fine. We're going to loop it into one of the loops we created here, and we're going to loop on the link section that we made that has the small 6mm pink bead with the gold. I need to move this up to where I can grip it a little better. And we're just going to link that one on. Close that up. Same thing on the other side. I'm thinking probably I did use the 4mm on my other necklace, because now that I'm looking at these, they look a little big. But it'll work. Again, that. Oops, sorry. The other link. So that's what we've got so far. Very pretty. And then we went with the 2 green. These two. Move it down a little bit. I'll show. Again with a jump ring each. And then the section, I took, like I said, I took one of these off because I did use them to make matching earrings. Again, you do not have to. If you want to just use the whole piece, you just slide it like you would if you was opening a jump ring. And then push it back so it's good and closed. That's going to go there. I'm going to take this one off. And you could take more off if you wanted. You could just make that section with 3 of them and have 2 to make earrings with. It's totally up to you. Let's set those ones aside. Close that back up. And that will be that section. So let's go ahead and put this on. It's starting to look really pretty. And you want to check and make sure all your loops on the ends of your links are nice and closed. All your jump rings are nice and closed. Things have a tendency to sneak out. There we go with that. And this piece is a little bit trickier because you do have to get in underneath that link. Yeah. There we go. It actually went in pretty good. So now let's do the other one. Putting it together part is pretty quick. It doesn't take long at all. Oops, get it backwards. There we go. There we go with that part. Now again, we're going to do the green again. Then we'll do the 2 rose quartz pieces, and then we'll just add chain. The chain you can add to the length of your choice. I went with approximately, I'd say approximately 6 inches of chain on each side, and then my clasp. I don't like super long necklaces. Some people do, and if you do, add more chain. If not, then now the link on this one is a little different than the other piece was. It's at the top. So anyway, as I was saying, so if you like a lot more chain, add a lot more chain. If you like a shorter necklace, make a shorter necklace. It's absolutely up to you. Flipping it over. There we go. So I'm from Maine, in case anybody has thought, wow, she has a horrible accent and she slurs her words. I'm from Maine. That's the way we talk. We don't pronounce our R's. We slur our words together. I try to watch it, be a little more professional with my speaking, but you know, I'm 57 years old. I've been a Mainer my whole life. There's not much changing me now, unfortunately. But that's okay. I work at in Acadia National Park. Oh, that jump ring just went flying. I am an assistant general manager of a motel. So I meet people from everywhere on a daily basis. I love it. So there's that one. So there. Now we're at the point where we're just going to add some chain. I'm just going to cut a section. I'm just going to eyeball it and cut it right about there because it doesn't have to be real exact for, I mean, if I decide to sell it, somebody else might want to adjust their length or... So this is the way I do it. I put my cut piece of chain, and I know everyone does this, it's not just me. Put my cut piece of chain through a piece of wire, pull it down through until I get to the length, and then I can just cut it off and... Oop, that one didn't cut through. There we go. It's right there. And then I don't have to sit and count lengths. I can just cut it off that way. So again, 2 more jump rings. One through here. I hope my lighting is good enough. I have literally got 5 lights all around me, trying to get enough light. So I hope you can see well. And there's one piece of chain on. Add the piece, and there is our necklace. It's so pretty. This box was gorgeous. I just love it. The new one that we've gotten, the May box, the Cloudburst box, it's really pretty too. I can't wait to show everybody what I made with that. I've seen some real pretty stuff that people have made and have posted in the Facebook group. So I can't wait to get mine going. So now we're just going to take 2 more jump rings. And I'm going to add this toggle clasp. You can use a lobster claw clasp or whatever you choose. One more jump ring. Oops, I'm way off frame. I'm getting tired. It's almost bedtime. And there's the completed necklace. So I hope you liked it. Again, as I said, I had a request for this one, so thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. I appreciate that you wanted to see it and that you liked it enough to want to be able to do it yourself. Yeah, so if you have any other of my products that were shown on my, on my, I call it show and tell, the finished product, jewelry that I've created from the boxes, just text me, send me a message, leave me a comment in my comments. I'd be more than happy to do it for you. I think it's, my techniques aren't, I am not a jeweler by any means. I'm not an artist by any means. I'm self-taught. I do it because I enjoy it, and if I can share something with somebody else, somebody thinks that it looks good enough that they'd like to see how it's done, I'd be more than happy to do that. So yeah, leave me a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you to all of you who have. I'm at 440 today and really looking to grow, and I thank all 440 of you from the bottom of my heart, and hope to hit that 1,000 mark eventually here. So yeah, keep an eye out. I will be posting my finished jewelry from the May box soon, and I do have a tutorial coming for a necklace from that set, possibly a necklace and a bracelet, depending on how much time I can free myself up to do that. And so until next time, thank you very, very much, and have a good day. Bye.